standing stone. I feel the memory of the earth.
We don't need this longest intro right now. It's 3 minutes. We have to reduce it.
Dark, calling fire into rebirth. The old ones speak through breaking light, through wind that carves the sacred lore. They lift the past into the present, to guide the path we walk once more. Bringing the past to the present, for a future fast in flame, where wisdom flows like rivers old, and the
It makes me want to take my shoes off.
where creation stirs like thunder, where the old universe draws near, and the awe of the wide and ancient sky cuts through doubt and fear.
Every heartbeat's a promise, carried forward from the stars. Every sunrise holds a secret, hidden deep in who we are.
I feel the strength of all before me, ancestor, mountain, storm, and sea. Their power arises in my spirit, their knowledge walks with me. Bringing the past to the present, for a future fierce and true, where the wisdom of the ages flows in me and flows in you, where the stones awake in power, where the sky reveals the whole, and the wonder of the endless cosmos sets the fire in the soul.
Bringing the past to the present, so the future learns to shine in the dawn of life's great mystery. The ancient strength is mine.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Tammy. And we are live.
Good evening, all.
Jason. How do you feel today?
Good evening, Ricardo. I'm doing well, man. I just got my coffee cup refilled. It's Groundhog Day. My microphone is working, which is a miracle. And Ricardo made major progression today, guys, in our in our podcasting abilities. He learned how to generate in our software. He learned how to generate a link. So we're able to get it out before we go live. So I don't have to sit here and send out the link everywhere. And so I'm not ready yet. It's I had time to chill and think about it, and it's like, oh no, that means people will be there. And my brain, it's such that, dude, it'll just find anything to worry about. So now I've got that. But Tammy's here, Sarah's here, I'm sure Jacqueline's here, so I'm all good. We're all ready to roll. Listening to your song, and this has got nothing to do with the topic. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here to the Shaman and the Philosopher, what we're calling Hangout Q&A session. It reminds me, Ricardo, I know I've shared a view with you of, because it's invoking the ancients, right? It reminds me of a prayer that I told you that I used to use every time I was going out at first. What I now term shamanically, though that was a term I learned along the way, right, while I was experiencing these things, but also to our audience's concerns while I was exploring, right? And it was simple. It was to all things sharing this. No, it's to all things sharing this space. Thank you. My name is Jason. Give me the eyes to see, the ears to hear, the ability to know anything you would have me to. Amen, right? And of course, that, along with removing my shoes, would lead me into, that was my conscious trigger into the space. And your beautiful song reminds me of that. It sets such a nice tone for what we try to do here. It's got me too relaxed, and I'm on a half of my second half of coffee, man. Take over, sir. How are you? I've had a long day, man. I started early this morning at the doctor's office. I know with Charlotte. So yeah, it's been a long day. So I'm trying to caffeinate up and get ready here. What's going on with you, man?
Sure. Yeah, well, doing great. And I think we'll start with a small curiosity, because you told me today is Groundhog Day.
It is.
Right?
Are you familiar? Have you been familiar as a
Oh yes, I
European? Yeah.
enjoyed the movie very much, and
Go ahead.
and there is some peculiarities to it, because when the first draft was written, that we don't have a clear record of, it was supposed to be the guy that, let me see if I can remember, Phil Connors, right? That is the character.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
So he was supposed to be there for millions of years without count, right? But that number disappeared. So when the second draft came, and that is official, the number was 10,000 years. And even he had a line to say to her, I've been waiting 10,000 years to be with you, right?
Right.
And then they removed that because they wanted the public not to know how long he was there.
Oh wow.
A much later draft, trying to conciliate, because there was some tension while according to how many
I bet.
years he had spent in that cycle, because the film only presents 38 days. The film presents 38 days, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
That changes
so-
a lot if you're the script writer, or
Yeah.
screenwriter. Yeah.
So the final draft that was supposed to be on the script for him to tell her was 231 days, which is much less. And he couldn't possibly learn all of those things in 231 days, especially because he wasted most of the beginning days by...
Not unless Puxatawny had a reliable methamphetamine dealer.
it's not 10,000
or
years, it's
something.
10,000 days. I'm sorry, 10,000
Yeah.
days.
See now, and that robs it from. So I continue your point, but you're hitting dead on why I kind of wanted to actually reference the movie, and we might watch a minute of it. Is its spiritual overtones in the soul, which I'm sure is also probably where you're going, knowing your nerdy ass. But continue on.
And well, that was basically most of it. So he had the time to know absolutely everybody, So,
Right, right.
and this is where you're leading to, because even if you are stuck in the same place for 10,000 years or 10,000 days, you will not necessarily engage with everybody or talk with everybody. So there is
Will
a
you?
there is a development there of getting to know every single thing of everybody, right?
It's
So
it's
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 God. He became God on that place because
But see, if you're alluding to the individual, right? But if you're alluding to the soul on its own and its and reincarnation, right? And what could be a soul's purpose here, then I think you see the divine humor in the thing, and I think maybe he would at some point if he were realized that indefinitely he were here. It's ultimately, what would you choose? Would you choose improvement and growth, or would you choose fetidness and decay? Right? What would you ultimately, beyond all, how many times did he try to kill himself? He even tried to take Puxatawny Phil, the poor rodent, with him, right? In that Ford, it's a great, or is it Chevy, the old truck. It's a great scene, right? And it's to our point, right? He was like just instantly spiritually aware, is the way I kind of read that movie. I'm probably getting too deep into it, but that's what it was showing you, right? It was like an instant enlightenment, if you saw One Day as a Lifetime in that film. I like it a lot. Can you tell? And the coffee's working now.
so my analogy in here is once you get to know everybody intimately in one environment and you know exactly what everybody's going to do, you acquire by proxy you acquire a certain omnipresence, because you don't need to be there to know what happened because you've been there before, you know exactly the same thing. And omniscience, because you know what everybody is thinking and what everybody is going to do. So in that sense,
In
he
that
could have
sense,
used that power to be either a bad god or a good god. You
God's
know?
just been stuck here so damn long. He knows everything. No, it's,
So,
but bring it down to the individual, though, right? Like, what would you do? You know? Continue with your point, but go ahead.
well, he didn't have access to the internet because otherwise 10,000 days would be short.
He'd be faking AI chatbots and having half the world freak out on X for 1 second, thinking the ultimate singularity was here, and it's just a bunch of fucking dudes in Taiwan laughing their
Creating the
ass off.
posts in advance of the others just
Yeah,
before.
yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Flint Dibble is going to post this.
Yeah, right. Flint Drivel, that dude created his own account, man, with an AI version of a real life dude, and it's so much funnier than half the shit I see on X. It's wild world, dude. Internet, why'd you mention it? We never talk about it, and there's a reason. Do you see what happens? There's just too much. It's like X is just, somebody sent me in our Discord. It was Guy, right, from the philosophy, from the Institute of Natural Philosophy. He put a picture. I guess you call it a meme these days. It was just a picture, and it was a drawing of a dude with a cell phone in his hand, and his brain was just, exploding like it was modern art backwards, And I was like, yeah, that's what that thing will do.
Guy will have to do a show sooner because he's 6 hours ahead of you, and
Is he? Okay.
yeah, so we'll have to do a show sooner, and because he's extremely versed in many things, and one of them is AI, and because he's an IT guy and he's graduated on it, and he's a programmer, a coder, and he followed all this evolution, and he has some pretty interesting things to say about AIs. But in that sense, and in a very shallow way, I would like to say that although most of the people are creating this hyper fear around new technology and the AIs, and I think they're forgetting that it's no different from the invention of nuclear energy that can create bombs or illuminate your house, or it's just how it's going to be used, right? And as long as they keep it into the public,
Well,
there is some transparency.
you're taking us down a rabbit hole that was not our main one, and imagine
Yeah, but
that
we
on a
can
show
go.
called The
It's
Shaman and the
just
Philosopher. We're gonna go with it exactly, and we're gonna get back to where we were headed. I promise. Puxatawny Phil there's some deep life lessons there, and Ricardo was headed there. But to the AI, I think even the example of the fake chat bot, right? The what do you call it? Malt book or malt bot that got set up that everyone thought and was bamboozled, to use a good word, for nearly a day. I mean, smart people, right? Bamboozled is a fun word, but I don't use it insultingly. Everyone was going with it, right? Because even the tech people were like, no, 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 this checks out. Even dudes going all the way down to the help screen were like, maybe there's one human being somewhere, but even that looks kind of weird and AI, right? And we know some tech people in our groups. So
I roll
really,
welcome.
but what did we see taken advantage of by some human beings, right? This fear you're harping on that is built around this technology. And I think it's sort of silly for many reasons. In a world where we're waking up, just choose at your own risk to look at social media today, unless it's us in history, and you'll see what happens with a world. There's people watching, and I was going to get political, and we don't do that here. Welcome to us learning what we can discuss and what we can't on The Shaman and the Philosopher with Jason Huffman.
The
and
only
Ricardo
politics we
Calvario.
talk here are religion. It's the only politics.
Well, that does fall into spiritual, realities, and anyone that stakes a claim on
So does
spiritual realities.
politics.
Well, politics, it does not. If you're observant, politics is like any power game. It's staking a claim on the material realm, right? Is what it's doing, and whatever it's doing its thing with it.
But they belong to some group or several groups that are
Who's they
spiritual
in this
nature.
day and age? What are? Well, yes. I mean, you're referencing like Tucker Carlson's conversation with AJ, which I just watched some of. Which, yeah, they were talking about, right? It is a weird phenomenon that you have a world, an Earth, our home, with a elite power structure, which is very much invested at whatever level to beliefs in spiritual realities, and things which on the reversey side, the side we all see, they would like to dumb you down to, tell you is bullshit, and fill the culture with both mental and physical poison in order to try to cut you off from, right? It's this very weird paradox that we're all beginning to take note of. Yeah.
Even in etymology.
Etymology, yeah, they took out meaning from words because we can't have them know. I mean, TV broadcast is the easy one I like to use because they're broadly casting a spell, right? It's what an ad is. Think of any advertisement. It's even if it's stupid, it's because it's just talking to your subconscious. It just needs to get in there. And then all of a sudden you believe Native Americans were just poor hunter-gatherers who had some tents, and, they were well worth conquering because they needed our belief systems because there was nothing here. You hear it twice, let alone your entire elementary school, and all of a sudden that's reality to you, even though it has diddly squat to do with, can you tell where I'm from? With actual reality, right? That's what I term narrative blindness. Have we strayed too far from Puxatawny Phil, or can you?
No,
Are they still following us? Good. All right. Cool.
I think, basically, my opinion is politics
Do tell.
should be to politicians.
See.
And the only thing that people has to do is to unite and express their opinions.
Yeah.
Because the strength is not on the few, right?
It's on the many.
On the many. Well, I'm going to contradict that the day that we do our show about how Portugal began, because there is battle with 300 and something against 6,000, but we'll get there.
Well, we are speaking, at least I am, from a country whose founding documents do ensure us that it is our right and responsibility to institute a new government if we learn the current one doesn't have our interests at heart, right? I mean, what does that tell us innately is we have the freedom to speak, if nothing else, on these things.
Sure.
Which in this world, man, I never thought I'd live to see is getting to be a rare thing.
But since we got into rare things, I think you have some light
no.
to show us.
No, we're not jumping to LiDAR. We got to
No?
get back to Puxatawny Phil. No, LiDAR
Okay,
is for...
okay, let's go to
is-
Puxatawny Phil.
Okay, so audience, what we're talking here, I haven't even looked at the chat. Have we got a chat going yet? Hey, True, what's
Yeah,
up,
there's
dude?
people in the
Rubate,
chat.
thank you.
Rubate is there.
No, so the
We
LiDAR
must be
portion-
talking nonsense because Ro in the net didn't make a question to us yet, so we must be talking nonsense so far.
We must be, and we're going to complete this circle. But we were giving you just a slight taste of what the Shaman and the Philosopher like to just ramble on about. No, the LiDAR portion of the show. What I was thinking was this: I can use the actual app, right? And so it's not so much showing the audience screenshots, but I can pop over and we can do a little zooming and sort of look at LiDAR in the area. And I've got a particular area, which I have tons of footage on my phone from, which I have on the computer now, which I haven't really put anywhere, so it's not out there, that I thought might be just something fun to do. But there were also several things we were going to sort of speak on if there was nothing from the audience. One thing in particular that took my mind, and for the Puxatawny Phil audiences, we're getting there, and there's a Bill Murray clip coming. One of the particular things on my mind at some point was you and I might take a breather for a second and talk about what we've learned so far. We've sort of, taken some leaps and bounds in this podcasting game in a fairly short amount of time. So I and you and I together, me as in total, but you and I together with what we've been doing. And so I thought it might be worthwhile for us to just pause and not necessarily call out anybody particular, but just maybe speak individually on, what we learned or where we are, if that interests the audience. So there's that. There's LiDAR. There's the, I think, deep spiritual lessons to be talked about within the Groundhog Day movie. And then there was, what was the fourth one?
You tell me.
Oh, I thought it was yours. Okay, so I wasn't being rude. All right, so we've got three.
Oh, the tree always will transform into many. The one thing that I'm wishing to know in the comments.
I'm wondering about studio light. Should I put on front lighting? How's this
No,
lighting?
it's good. It's good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Studio lights are out. I'm just trying to go with the mood that it is here.
One of the things I wish to do is, I believe I have a link, but while I take care of that, what I want to say is I want to know in the comments from the people that watch us, and thank you very much, if you would like to have a format of video where we look at documentaries and then talk about the parts that we are seeing. So stopping the documentary, talking about it, and then moving forward.
Old-fashioned watch-alongs.
Yeah, this would be a longer format video, or in the sense that it doesn't change the topic unless it's related to the documentary.
Jacksepticeye, here we come. We're going to corner the 6-hour stream market with documentaries and commentary. Watch us. Sorry, that was a serious question to the audience. Audience, honestly, if you have an opinion, we'd love to know it.
And we are going to do some shows where we are going to, instead of just talking as we are now, we're trying to present a subject from beginning to end.
Ruth, could someone please
normal
pick a
people.
subject? I
Yes.
told you the subject you were going to encounter in the next hour and a half.
Ru,
In
we are going to make
between,
it.
Ru,
We are going to make a
Can
show
you
for
not tell we're
Ru.
trying to corner a market here, dude? I mean, this playful banter, which we discovered in real life was kind of fun, we thought we'd throw out there for a second. But, if you just want me to come to Australia, and apologize to your daughter for scaring her last night, and did you see that expose?
I did.
Bruce, smart ass, I love it. So for the audience, I made a post in the streetlights. I'm walking Jake, and again, a couple of long days. My daughter's, and there's a cousin that lives a long way away, and you gotta go. Your dad, right? So anyhow, late last night in streetlight, before I got to put a little advertisement out for tonight, and Rue pops on there. Good God, could you please do the adverts during the daylight? You scared my youngest.
Let me just say to Rue, without any form of disrespect, that the person you mentioned doesn't have the same documentaries that I do. So, because he was decades to be born when those documentaries were made. And so
Yeah.
it will be something new and
Yeah.
different. So
This is something you hadn't seen unless you watched them, and if you're from my generation when you were a kid, that's for sure. And yeah, I really enjoyed the afternoon I took watching one. That's why I said I'd be along for the ride, because I took my own time to chill out and go, you know what, it'd be cool if I could be like I was when I was a kid, and I was just learning shit, and I was watching something that was both beautiful to look at and entertaining, and it's cool, and I didn't think about anything else, And so I did that with one of these documentaries you sent me, and I totally enjoyed it. So that's why I said I'd do it. You know. Anyway, Rue, apologies, sir. You have your topics. We'll get there when we damn well please. Thank you, Rue. We love you, smart ass.
and I forgot what I was looking for that I wanted to give a promotion or a shout out to.
I didn't know illegitimate scholar. What does he already do? What
I
does
don't-
Sam? What does Sam already do? All right, listen. I had a wonderful time sitting around the table with Sam in Arizona. You'll have to ask him what we talked about, because it was things we don't talk about on these shows. But anyhow, what is it his ass already did? Covers We're not. How is? All right, Rue. I'm trying. I'm withholding, and I'm listening. The frustration while Ricardo carries along. What does anthropology have to do with what we're doing right now?
We tend to include a little bit of anthropology in everything, because we are always talking about the history of man and behavior
Right.
of man and culture of man.
We're hanging out. We're having fun. We're going to look at some LiDAR. We're going to show people that don't know how to use that free app how to use it. We're going to look at some strange anomalies like I find around here. We're going to see some video of me going to investigate those anomalies. We're also going to talk about the Mars Disclosure Project, which we're jumping headlong into. We're doing a new podcast, the 5th, that's this week, dude, with Jean Ward and Brian Corey Dobbs, documentary filmmaker, Blue Planet Red. Did y'all know they found chlorophyll on Mars, the chemical that when you find whenever you read a headline, guys, that says life found another planet, right? Like Earth. What they mean is they found chlorophyll. Well, they did that in 76 or whatever it was on Mars. We didn't hear about it. So he made a whole documentary sort of based around that. And John Ward has been studying these photos that NASA puts out. And we're going to start doing a podcast with those guys, because I started looking at LiDAR here on this free app and started going out seeing what the hell that was in real life. So we thought we'd take the audience along for a ride doing that. That seems worthwhile. It is Groundhog Day here in America. It is a ridiculous holiday. It's completely insane. It makes no sense, and I don't know the accuracy of it, so I won't comment. But there was a fabulous movie made about it that not only was hilarious, entertaining, but which one can pull deep spiritual, i.e. shamanic, and philosophical meaning from. So it seemed apropos, since timing-wise I traveled yesterday, we had to push everything to today to throw that in. Yeah.
Sure. And regarding
Rue?
to Rue, one of the documentaries we're gonna watch, because there is a lot of people talking about Mars, and I'm proud to be in the circle that listens to these people and talks to these people. We'll have soon in Mike and Dave's Multiverse a big show about it.
I forgot Dave. Mike and Dave's
Yeah.
Multiverse is right at the middle of this. It's who we're doing all this
With the-
through and with.
with the-
Yeah.
With the present proponents of these ideas.
Right.
But
Put it
I
out.
keep saying that it is important that we don't forget those that did the job, those that brought this, so that these people could find it and study it. And that people was Richard Hoagland and his group. So one of the things we're going to watch is the Hoagland documentaries, where these things are being presented for the first time, and we'll be seeing them being presented to the UN and to the U.S. Senate. So there are two different videos where we look at the things that are being presented in screen. It has lots of images. We can talk along it. And I think it will be quite impressive because the things that these people are showing us today are amazing, but some of the stuff that was discovered in the past is mind-blowing in terms of size and technology to actually do them.
Well, and it goes to the heart, I think of, and this probably leads us into a little bit of maybe the recollection part or the learning part of what we've taken in. It goes to the heart of what we're doing here at the Shaman and the Philosopher. You know what it became anyhow, and sort of culminated in Lee Pennington, and then our ongoing show with Rick Osmond and Vincent Barrows and all the other people we have encountered along the way, the independent researchers.
Yeah.
So this just. I don't think, if we have a niche other than just trying to, in front of everyone, learn and master this live format, if we have a niche, it's something along those lines. And I think this documentary watch-along idea is very much in that heart space, right? We're wanting to not only create content, people might tune in because we really do like kind of just hanging out with you guys. Thank you everyone who watches afterwards, but most of all, thank you guys who are here, and guys who are actively participating with this in this experiment that we're calling the Shaman and the Philosopher, and we're focusing on independent researchers. And so it seems a natural outgrowth of that where we could hang out, but we could also share this knowledge that we've been encountering and along the way, while also encountering you guys along the way. If you say you wanna, otherwise we'll leave it to Sam Urban or who the hell ever else Rupate has cornered the market. And
Sure. And we're
no,
going
we
to do
won't.
some.
We're just gonna do our
some
thing, bro. Sorry.
some
Fuck it.
specials on archaeacoustics because it's still one of the most popular videos that we have on the Institute channel.
And one of the most interesting, Tucker and AJ Carlson spoke about. AJ spoke heavily, about the power of sound potentially. Not only actually, like we can actually move things with sound, but what is that technology potentially all about?
Yeah, what is the potential of that technology? So dive us. Oh,
Does it
before you
answer
dive
any questions in the historical timeline?
before we dive in, could you go into our chat and just share that link with us? Because I just want to do a small promotion to this book that just came out.
Are you speaking with me?
Yes,
Which link?
that is in our chat in here
No, I understand, but the link to what?
to X post, so you can share it on the screen.
Ah, the documentary.
No, it's a book.
Okay, you just want me to pull up X and share it and look through your page?
Sure. No, I'm just saying click the link and share it.
Oh, you put the link in our private chat.
Exactly.
Roger.
So this is a book by Michael.
I've got
Rosser.
feedback coming from somewhere. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. So let me share this.
Packlefish.
Lizards. It's always
so-
the lizards.
This is a book by Michael Rosser that he just managed to publish it. I had the privilege to hear a little bit here and there, and I couldn't recommend it more. So if you like fantasy, adventure, and extremely well constructed tale, that there's no loose ends. He's a brilliant writer. So, and I would love very much that people, that if you acquire it, that let us know about the feedback. That would be great. So it was just that, Jason. I just wanted to do a shout out to this because I hope he succeeds. Because
Definitely.
he truly deserves it.
Yeah, I see you sharing this guy's work a lot, so I know it means a lot to you, because I know what kind of person Ricardo is. So I haven't asked you about him before, but it's readily apparent to anybody who pays attention to you that he means a lot to you in some form.
there is a dangerous bias that I hope I'm escaping here, because I'm always very critical and honest. In fact, Michael has been a friend for more than, yeah, for around 30 years right now. So
Yeah.
it's the only friend that remained constant since young age. And the thing that he keeps asking me is honesty, because lying for being kind, it doesn't work with him. And he's brutally honest. Sometimes people don't understand the way he speaks because he's brutally honest, right? So
Oh, why do you think I laugh so much? I try to hide it behind laughter and jokes.
and he's very talented. He produces extremely fantastic music and lyrics that he did by himself, and he didn't succeed in that. Um, and then he decided to start creating this universe, that is this multiverse, and this is one of the planets of that multiverse. So he's going to write a story for each of these planets and each of these cultures, and he created everything from the plants to the monuments to the environment. So and I'm quite eager to see what is people's opinion about his work, and I really hope he succeeds. But let's move on for a bit.
Okay. Did I stop sharing?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, all I had planned, man, was if we wanted to have fun for a second before diving into perhaps looking at LiDAR and doing any sort of, actual work and look at real life stuff. If we wanted to have a little fun, or do you want to save the little fun for the end and talk about that movie a little bit and look at a clip from it? What do you think?
Yeah, let's go.
Sound is off.
To whom?
Oh, never mind. Sarah had, I don't know. Tammy said sound is off, and then Sarah said Shaman, leave, and then I said that's his side, and now the sound's gone. I think like a fan or something on your side was on, dude. I don't know.
Was or is?
Was. I don't hear it
Oh.
anymore, but I did.
No.
And there's a perk.
The only thing I had seen passing by was a traveling banana. Apart from that, I see nothing.
Dude, that's so funny. I recorded a video where I put out a video somewhere earlier today where Jacob was eating a banana. That's the second time bananas come around. Oh, that reminds me of one of the best passwords I ever heard in my life, like real life code words. Ski mask banana. I don't know why. That's a word you never hear. I heard that as a real life code word, and it's like that's fucking hilarious. It was like, some dudes doing some real, it was undercover. It was real life stories, And anyway, dude was just telling the story, and he mentioned what the code word was that they used with police, so the police knew what was up. And anyway, it was ski mask banana. I use it all the time now. So back to, do we want to look at some film clips or do we want to look at some LiDAR? I have both pretty much ready.
So, do show us one of your
Or were you
clips.
saying something more important before I started making jokes, trying to
No, not at all.
liven things up and figure out whose sound was working? So, yeah, you can just come over here and watch me fumble through it. We can do that. Why not? All right, so guys, this is your noise is back, Ricardo. I think you got a kitchen next to your head or something. Yeah. Okay, guys. So this is a free app, at least in the United States. So to find it it's real easy on the mobile, but to find it on the web browser on your PC, you go to apps.nationalmap.gov/viewer, and you get brought, let me turn off all the filters. You get brought to what is already an excellently detailed map of the United States, right? But to our interests, there are filters upon filters. And if it weren't for this information being passed on to me freely, I might never have found out how to use this thing. So once you find your place on the map, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a particular place called Hatchet Creek. And audience, you're going to have to watch me find it actually. So Hatchet Creek is going to follow the Coosa. So there's the Alabama here. We got to come up here. There's Lake Jordan. Okay, where's the county line? Speed Creek. Now I really need to look for 22 at this point. All right, cue music while I find the road. There's 21, 231. That's too far right. So there was a time, Ricardo, when I was learning this landscape. There's Titus, so we need to go just north of the, I know where I am now. Okay, so there was a time in my life where I tried not to carry the cell phone if my daughters were, you know, if I knew where they were, right, on all was well. You know, I tried not to carry my cell phone, and that meant doing a lot of traveling the old-fashioned way, you know. Trying to learn my way around so that I knew it. So you're watching me look for look for it that way. All right, so now that we found Titus, let's head on up to the county line here and zoom in. I wish I knew the actual coordinates, and then I wouldn't have to do this to y'all. There we go. Should be
I was just saying that you are much better, because the last time you tried to show me this place, you started on Mongolia, so now you're much closer. You must
thanks,
be
yeah.
almost
Please, please come in with the humor, dude. So, all right, so there's Titus. And when I'm heading
There's
north,
no pressure. It's
All
not
right,
that
it's-
everybody's waiting. So.
you pass Blueberry Hill, and now right up here, there's a major crossroad that I think is 22 that I'm not seeing for some reason. So I must be way under reading this map. If I zoom out a little, there, Kelly's Crossroads. We're there. I was being stupid. I was zoomed in, everybody. Okay, now you already see that what I've entered from the very flat terrain of where I am, essentially. You know, I live right where the terrain falls off, what used to be the ancient sea line. As you move north up along the Coosa, and now guys that know my work, started with Mobilla and the DeSoto route. You know, I was exploring this territory from the south northward, and in that direction, you come across these mounds that you know, I'm not saying they're native mounds. I'm using the wrong word. But in the landscape, they're not mountains. They're not hill. You know, they're like hillocks, right? But what they are, once you got climbing them and looking at video that I've got from climbing on them, are they're giant piles of like rose quartzine rock, like really heavy quartzine, which I've recently learned since, you know, these videos from you and others on this series, that those contain piezoelectricity, right? For instance, in the pyramids, right, on the inside of the chamber, they chose specifically, as AJ said today, rose quartz to line those, right? Well, there's all these quartz, and these are, I don't want to say mounds, these are hillocks of quartz, right? It's a very strange place. So let's head up Kelly's Crossroads, and let's get to a place called Hatchet Creek. And then I'm just going to show the audience. Ricardo, can you see my pointer?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, right up here, if you were on my Rumble and you saw some of my early spiritual work, there's a thing called Hatchet Creek Walk in Prayer and all that. And you'll see Logan, right? Logan got called to a place right here. I had never heard of Hatchet Creek, Ricardo. I'd never been up here to honor the spiritual component of all this. And one day, you know, he called me up here, and we went up here to sit by a fire. He taught me, you know, some soul journey type work, which I recorded, is on a Rumble video as well. Another shameless plug. But all of that is right here, where these very large, quartz heavy rocks start scattering across the water, and you do not see that anywhere further south really than Corn Creek in the landscape. So what I'm trying to convey to the audience is this landscape, as you see just in this simple map, really stands out when you begin heading north. So right up in here, I find a primary spring, and when I start showing you videos, guys, what you're going to be seeing is video from along this primary spring here, right? A little parking lot right here, and they call this the Pinhote Trailhead that heads way off up into the middle of nowhere, right? But I was interested in tracing primary waterways, really, and there's little ones that spring all off of this. And hopefully, if we have time, we'll look at a little video I have of that. Logan and I, over several trips, myself alone, Logan sometimes, traced all the way up. And one day without a phone, there's some rocks that I don't even want to talk about because people won't believe me until I get back with a phone, right? So at that point, I knew there was something much more, right, to this area, even though I didn't have all this knowledge of piezoelectricity and the ancient use of quartz already, right? But I could just tell from walking around barefoot around here, having already discovered all the earthworks and mounds of the natives and of Chief Tuscaloosa, right? I knew that. So this landscape, as I've described it, was very foreign, is what I'm trying to get across, right? Now, let me push this away from me a little bit to help the audience out with my forehead. I, shortly thereafter, right, and honestly, a couple of years, but right after I got on X about a year ago, someone shared with me this LiDAR app. So I said, listen, why don't I take this LiDAR app and check out places? I did. I found some mounds and all kinds of things around here, verified the Crescent Mound, which I'd already found.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jason. It's just one
Yeah.
thing. If you are doing zooms on the map, we are not seeing them, and you are extremely laggy. Not on the sound, but on the image. So I'm presuming that the LiDAR image, we never got there because it's always...
No, I'm about to go. I was hoping you could see my pointer.
You haven't went yet. Okay.
Yeah, I've been telling the
pointer,
story.
yes.
Are you telling me to hurry the shit up? I can do that.
No, I'm
Producer?
not telling you. I'm just afraid that because your camera is lagging, this might be lagging too, and you are showing things that we are not seeing.
No, not yet. That was all exposition. Is a not rude word for what I was doing, or as my look. Y'all want to know what my button says? All right, it says, "Mindless self-indulgence, shut me up." It's a self-reminder, right? Anyhow, now back on track. So we're here to Hatchet Creek. I come home, guys, and I say, let me take this LiDAR. Let me look at these strange piles of quartz. Let me see what I see. So I'm going to do what I did then, which was start where I knew, this little natural spring, and we're going to go over to show everybody from the beginning. You're going to have a layers tab, right? You're going to open that, and you're going to have to scroll all the way down. If you're on mobile, it's a pain in the ass. You have to be sure to turn it landscape, okay? Otherwise, it won't listen. You're going to scroll all the way down to, here opinions vary, but you want to see 3 depth, right? Now, the last guy I listened to said you need to see 3 depth elevation hillside stretched. I usually use hill shade by itself. So we'll play with the difference here. And once I click over, the LiDAR is going to pop up instead of the map. So I better know where I am before I click over to LiDAR. Otherwise, I'm going to get confused by LiDAR very quickly because LiDAR, you don't know if you're looking at a house or a mound or what, So you better have a pretty good idea of the area before you click that button. Now, if I scroll up, let's see if I can find it again. You're going to find a hill. Now, a hill is a good word, I guess. But if I trace from that waterway, which is there, and I follow it all the way up to where it ends, I'm going to find it ends right here next to this hill with what, to my eye, is a very strange anomaly. Ricardo, I can see water runoff, like, my pointer is on some of these forest southern things. Oh, and that is weird. Look over there on the left. Okay, next trip planned. What is that? Anyhow, back to the video that I have. I see all of these and I can go, sure, water erosion, right? Now, I see right here what I'll try to put in the very center of the screen and zoom in on. And I go, all right, that's weird, okay? It almost looks like a cross hatch, right? Very horizontal, vertical lines on this hill. It's very odd. Plus, I've got this very dark anomaly where this waterway seems to end, right? Now that caught my interest, as well as down here, which again, I know already forest, right? I see these anomalies. And so my video then, which if we want to look at, watch me again stumble through that, is going to be me setting out one day, exploring both the primary waterway, but then coming up here, and I'll go ahead and shortcut to what I found. So here at the high point, Ricardo, is a very, very large rock. This feature here is a singular rock, the size of a car, right? A smaller one with some smaller rocks around it. And then you see here a slightly smaller rock, right? But again, I'm talking half the size of a car, right? This valley, these things are 50 feet, right? And it's straight down into this little valley where there's this dry, mostly, barely visible in real life waterway, right? And then immediately this steep rise up, and you see all these little freckles on this thing. Okay, well, I immediately, when you see the video, I recognize this from just like the triangular mound in Hoover on the Cahaba. These are pieces of stone, right? And I'm in the middle of the forest. When I zoom out, you guys see this forest, right? You see that this is the road. You get up to Kelly's Crossroads, you better fucking know where you're going. Self-service is nada, right? Like literally. Again, you see the landscape, right? Now, can I get back up here with it on? That's always the question.
Can you go back? Can you go back and zoom a little bit?
That's where I'm trying to say, can I do that with it on? There we go. Okay. So we're following
No,
this.
I was just asking you, can you zoom out a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going. You're talking back to the cross, the four hatched anomaly,
No, I
right?
just I think I saw an arrow.
Oh, you mean in general? Okay, well, let me find my spot.
No, go back. Go back. Just take the zoom out.
Okay.
Let it become gray because it isn't. It
Sure.
was.
Yeah, it takes a minute to load. Sometimes you got to trick
Huge
it.
Arrow.
Okay, here we go.
No, less zoom. You went a little bit higher, so maybe a little bit down on the map. To the left? No, that's too much.
Ooh, what the
Go to
fuck
the
is
left.
that? See, because this is all wood. What is
Yeah.
that? Look at that, dude. You see that on the far left? What is that? This, see where the water flows up in here and it looks like a, what is that? Dude, that's a long hike, but I see where I need to go. Look at that. Look at that with all these big piles. Dude, they look like, I'll show you a video. When you look at them, I hate to throw woo out there, but fuck it, it's what we do. They look like pyramids, right? When you're just looking at them, you're like, that's a pyramid with a bunch of trees on it. And look at that water feature. So strange. Anyhow, did you see your arrow, bro? And I'll get back to the story that I was
No,
on.
it should be a little bit down and to the left. You're going up to the right.
Yeah, okay. You're on the north side of Hatchet Creek still?
And less zoom because the image was pretty big. The scale
Okay.
was big when I saw it. Yeah. Go in just one click. Okay,
much,
now
huh?
move to the left. No, yeah, too much. Because the arrow was enormous, so,
That's
and it
okay.
was just like a line, and well, we gotta forget it because I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I've
But
often
I'm
wanted
quite
to do
intrigued.
this, but
I'm quite intrigued.
I've often wanted to do that with this area. This is why I haven't, because once you get going in this place, you'll see. So I'll get back to the known one. But even now,
Yeah.
even now, you see things that are not pareidoia. That's just wild right there. See the way that buttresses and the way that flat, that's a cliff there. That's wild. I love this place, and look at here, the way it points. You know, having explored it, I know that this is all woods and rocks. It's just craziness. But I'll take us back to where I have video of quickly, which is here. Yep. And there. Follow that to its terminus. Sorry, guys, I know I'm stumbling through it there. Follow that to its terminus. Right. He's concentrating. Dude, you threw me making me look for that other thing. Now I'm just seeing too much, and I don't even see. All right, there is where you land. So there, it's got to be right in here. How am I looking past it? There. Sorry. No, that's yet another one. Look at this. Look at this dimple in the earth. It kind of looks like a butt. It's very strange. Okay, so I'll just click over to video. Everybody saw, and I've got pictures of the anomaly. That, as a matter of fact, I can just do it that way. Let me stop. Go here. This I can do quickly. I have practice, guys. This I have. Open that folder. Open albums. Open. Load and back to share. Screen. Albums. Bam. Okay. Hatchet Creek has its dedicated folder, and I took a picture. There's our crosshatch anomaly that I got held up refinding. Let's start with the LiDAR. I got to move you, Ricardo. You're in the way. There we go. Okay. Is this full screen for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so what drew my eye, guys, to the area was this cross-hatching, right? Why did I have 4 lines on each side? I didn't know that I would also then encounter all of these rocks scattered everywhere, you know? It makes no sense why these would be scattered and this would be cross-hatched in such a manner. Here, this is a cave, right, where this primary spring sort of trickles down. But let's get some visual on this stuff. Let me take myself back so I can see it all. Okay, so here.
I need you to hold the fort for a minute. Just continue.
Yeah, I got you.
Right back.
Guys,
Right back.
Let's look at some video of Hatchet Creek. Some stuff I haven't thrown out a lot. Here is an intro, and I think behind me, guys, you'll see what I mean. I'm not calling these things pyramids, but you'll see in this video what I mean by it. It looked like a pyramid. Let's get audio on. I've got to go back. All right, guys, live and in action. Stop sharing. I've got to go back and reshare because I didn't click share audio as well. So we want Hatchet Creek, share audio, off, on, share.
Testing out Logan filming. Welcome to Hatchet Creek, everybody. So this is a spot that Logan and I found, I guess you'd say, using spiritual LiDAR. And recently, we've been looking at LiDAR and actual LiDAR and noticing some anomalies. If you saw our last video, you saw that all of this surrounding me, and I don't know if they can see that point out there, Logan, right? If you kneel down, you know, sort of got that triangular point, you can see all these pine trees growing on top. If you look down here next to the water, you see the size of the deciduous trees, right? And that's one way you can locate these places on a map is when you're looking at just a satellite image and you see all of the light green for the deciduous, and then you just see these pockets and these you saw in our last, okay? That's the only thing that can grow because of rubble, as you saw in our last video, quartzite. So looking at the LiDAR, and I'll pin it at an X.
There where you saw the pinnacle, somewhere in here I have a video. But you see, guys, so they're just, they come to a point, a lot of them, right? And so that stands out to you. So we dive off into it and see what we have. Let's go back and let's find Logan and I running up one of these waterways, seeing what it looked like. Here we go. Okay, here's the beginning of that primary spring. It's beautiful, really.
Now, once we're through the thorns and we get in amongst, just here at the beginning, I'm going to take you further up and show you what these things consist of. But just here at the beginning, we have to look around.
Take note how the trees, they fall over.
Whatever you want to call it.
They only get so large, right? That's these anomalies. This is the lidar you've been looking at.
With water flow. Quartz again. Every other piece.
Yeah. So you see, the landscape is not only littered with quartz, every waterway you step in, but then these hillocks, right? These moundy structures are just giant piles of much bigger quartzin-filled stone.
Yeah. Almost looks like some of the petrified wood from further south.
Yeah.
Here, you can see the.
This area is covered in petrified wood, dude. The size of half this room. It's a wild place.
Anyone has documented that?
Now,
in
the
that
further
area?
up we go.
I mean, I can't find much, man. There was a meteorite impact in Wetumpka, and I'm just north of Wetumpka here. So obviously that impacted the landscape in tons of ways, right?
Do you know the date?
But supposedly millions, like
Oh.
30 million. Yeah, supposedly. That's what they say.
How rounded that is on the edge. How many layers it is. Right, and
So you pay attention, guys. I'm showing you what the hills are made of. You see how the bases of them are giant rock. And they're curved and they're strange and they're full of quartz. And then that's what the whole hill is, and that's why these trees are falling over. They can't get very big. They can't put down taproots.
in the rock. There you can see the piles where there's caves, happening up underneath from all the spaces. I don't see a non-slippery way across this, so let's just go wet. There we go, from this angle.
See, that was a really good shot. It just shows you this entire structure. As you see at the bottom are these giant pieces of rock. And in this video, I just carry on to show you more of those rocks. So I'll click.
You see? It's a big pile of rocks. About 40 feet up. This primary water source bubbling from much further on up. I like places like this, obviously for their power, their beauty, but because they evidence some very simple questions that need to be asked. These stones are monumental in size, whatever they are. And they are most certainly what make up either of these nearly identically height hills on either side of me. Yeah, it's a beautiful place that begs a lot of questions.
Yeah, Hatchet
I
Creek
can tell
asks
that you are very
a lot.
taken by the energy of the place. You're
It's
almost
crazy
without
there, dude.
words.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's crazy there, man. Everywhere you go. I mean, I don't know what our time's at, but more and more I can show you that the whole area is just wild. But I gave you a real good idea there. This is from further up. It's really beautiful up there. You see what I mean by the quartz starts to scatter across the across Hatchet Creek.
Hatchet Creek. At sunset.
Because I mentioned it. But then, yeah, so that goes on. And then I have the only place on X I threw a little series where I walk you to this anomaly. But I'll tell you what happens is once you watch these videos, guys, I hope you see this LiDAR in a different light, right? Now that you've seen what all these anomalies are from bottom to top, that LiDAR just becomes a whole
so
nother
our
thing.
last video was from right up there. Here I am now. A fair ways up here, and you can see this rock is striations in it there. Still loaded with quartz. And
Look how big those,
uphill,
look at these.
pile, little bits. What is that? Here I am now.
So, if you've seen from North Alabama, you remember antediluvian Alabama, DeSoto State Park 1 at the beginning of the hiking trail. There's rocks that evidence this strange pattern as well.
Look here, where it breaks off. That's just a piece.
It would be interesting to go there with 3 or 4 or 5 people that can actually turn it over.
Yeah, but again, look at the size of these rocks, guys, that this hill is made of, okay? So you see how big the one I'm telling you is that actually stood out on the LiDAR was so much bigger than this. But the fact that these hills are completely made of this stuff is what, as I said in the video, it raises the questions. And in all of these videos that I've yet to self-edit into a series, because life's busy, I take you to Hatchet Creek chasing this anomaly. And what I hope, engenders in everybody what watching John Ward's work on Mike and Dave's Multiverse did for me. It brought this excitement back to me that I found looking at this stuff. Now, let me remember how to do that. And then when we do one last time, Ricardo, and then I'm going to let you take it away from me, I want to share this LiDAR one more time. And then when you go back over here, right? And so I'm right here. You then start to see this landscape in a different way. Oh, look at that over there. That's weird, isn't it? Without even having LiDAR on. Look at that. So, but you truly start to see this whole area in a different light once you put your feet on the ground, and you realize what you're looking at. It's a strange place with a lot of power to it. It's funny you mentioned you could see the power on me, because when I started the shamanic part of all this, right? And it all went hand in hand with finding all this stuff. In reality, I told you I was led here, as a spiritual place for us to go meditate, right? Whatever you want to call it, commune with spirit. But the power, right, that I first sort of came in contact with here in Tuscaloosa's territory on these creeks, once I became, more attuned to it, I could then feel it as I moved north, which culminated up in Lookout Mountain, in the Mentone area, and everything I document in antediluvian Alabama. But it is strange that you can feel its strength grow as you traverse this terrain heading northward, for sure. But yeah, it's a wild place, man. So that gives everybody a taste of some of what I do, other than just host podcasts and talk to awesome people.
There's the arrow. There's the arrow.
Okay, that's the feature. I said, "What is that?" when I saw it on the map. Yeah, it's wild. Look at this.
No, on the bottom, right in the. No, that's
Okay.
not the arrow.
All right, just hang out and let it load, and you find the arrow. Give it a second. I'm not going to mess with it. But look, this is the waterway. Okay, let me zoom back out. Maybe one more time. And bring it down. That's where it was, roughly. once it loads. Okay.
There it is, right at the bottom of the screen.
Okay. I don't see it. Talk to me about the
There,
water. There?
don't you see? There's
Here.
a line down, and then a V under it.
A V. A V. I kind of see. I see the V. Yes.
An arrow. It's an arrow. Like you do an
Okay.
arrow. You do a line and a V. Look at that.
Okay, I'm going in.
No, yeah, lower a little bit.
So-
It's natural, but it's quite curious.
It is. It is the way. If we're supposing that all of this was produced by some massive force, right? It is odd in places when you look at like where you zoomed in, right? Okay, so this is the creek. This is backflow and then feeding from all these little feeder creeks come in right here, right? And you get what often, is like a beaver pond or something. But here, probably, just knowing from, being out there, feels much more like a lake or a pond. But look here, dude, where you pointed out, it is odd that it forms like this, almost like there was once a road, a bridge, or this connected, right? Especially after this narrow channel, it's odd.
And it's quite flat, the top of the arrow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really wild
You were
place.
zoomed in and the top of the arrow.
Yeah. Yeah, look right
see to
here
the
at
left?
this, fine point.
Yeah, but do you see the flat surface there?
Here?
Right on the edge of the left.
Here.
Edge left. Down left.
Here.
I don't see your mouse now.
Yeah, I know.
No,
Because
you are in
this
the middle of the screen. You are in the middle of the screen. Right on the edge to the left.
right here. I think that's a
Where is
house.
your mouse now? I can see it.
In the middle.
I can see you
In the middle.
in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jason, what I'm telling you,
Can you see that?
no.
Okay.
No, now I can see it. Now, put your arrow completely down and to the left. To the left, completely to the left, to the edge of the screen.
Okay.
You see that flat top? That's the line of the arrow. Just go down, keep looking at that flat top.
That's a road. That's a road cutting through all this. That's what I mean. You got to know what you're looking at. See, when I scroll down to the map, that's a road. That's County Road 1. County Road 1, by the way, is a crazy road to take your bike down, or take anything down, really, but to take a bike down. It's a crazy road. See all these rocks everywhere? This landscape is wild, man. And that cross-hatching one, when you get there, and again, it's just scattered boulders like the first one. But yeah, it's a crazy area, Hatchet Creek. All right, how's everybody doing in the chat? Do we have anybody? Oh my God, hi JC. JC showed up.
I suggest you play the.
Yeah.
It's a complete change of topic, but I suggest you play the video that I sent you on our private
Okay.
chat.
Okay. Let me.
It's a short one, and I think people will find it interesting.
All right, let's check
And
it
we
out.
can have some questions afterwards.
And we gotta get back to Puxatawny Phil. Okay, studio chat. Yep. So timing. This one, the most recent one. Rumble.
Yep. Yep. And let it play with audio.
Okay.
Because
One
most people
second.
don't know that about that.
Let me
This is-
pause it, and then I'll do a screen share for you. Ads.
Yeah, it always has ads on Rumble. At least they pay you from day one. I almost have 60 cents.
Okay, share. Dude,
It only has
I
3
have
years.
so much content on Rumble, but there's no way to. All right, Older Kingdom, there. Yep. Is this? Well, you don't know yet. It's an ad.
You can live a very long time without.
Can you?
My wife just turned 74.
I hear
74 in.
you live right, skip ad.
Mathematics used in modern computers is identical with the mathematics that was used in ancient Egypt. And I'll show you how that works. Today, when we write a number, we work in powers of 10. and place value. We have the ones, the tens, the hundreds columns. So if you wanted to say 472, we're really saying 4 100s, 7 tens plus 2 ones. But the way that this occurs in modern computers is not place 10 value, but place 2 value. So their powers are 1s, 2s, 4s, 8s, 16s, and so forth. So if a computer wants to think of the number 16, let's say, well, if a computer wants to look at the number, let's say 14, it's 1 8, 1 4, it's 12, 1 2, and no ones. This kind of arithmetic is appropriate for computers because they deal with electricity, which can either be on, represented by 1, or off, represented by 0. The flow of electricity or no flow of electricity. These powers of 2. Now, the way the ancient Egyptians developed this can be seen in the way that they would multiply. Now, neither the ancient Egyptians nor the modern computers use a times table. Times table is something we teach children in school, and it has to be memorized. But it's really inappropriate for a computer. And I'll show you how, for example, that works. The modern computer designers, as well as the ancient Egyptians, were aware of a mathematical fact that any number can be shown to consist of the sum of powers of 2. What I mean by that is if we write the powers of 2, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and so forth, you notice there's a doubling going on. And any number can be represented by the sum of these. For example, if we wanted to choose the number 17, it's 16 plus 1. So I can count 1, 2, 1 plus 2 make 3, 4, 1 plus 4 make 5, 2 plus 4 make 6, 1 plus 2 plus 4 makes 7, 8, and so forth. And so any number can be represented by this, the sum of elements of this sequence. So if I wanted to multiply two numbers, let's say we wanted to multiply 17 by 25. In order to multiply the way the Egyptians did and the way that computers do, all you have to know is how to double numbers like this and how to add two numbers together. No multiplication table needed to be memorized. So 17 times 25, I've identified the elements of 17 as 1 plus 16. And in this column, I write the number 25, and I just keep doubling it. Twice 25 is 50, twice that, 100, twice that, 200, twice that, 400. So in order to know the product of 17 times 25, we just have to look at which numbers are circled over here and circle the corresponding ones over here and add them together. So 17 times 25 is 400 plus 25, or 425. It's that simple. No memorization, no times table, no tears in the third grade about this. And this is how computers do it as well, except instead of circling or not circling a number, they would have a 1 or a 0. So in other words, the number 17 in binary arithmetic by computers is 10001, or electricity, no, 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 and electricity. And that will give us the sum. And that's how this works. Now, division in computers or in ancient Egypt is just the opposite of multiplication. It's the inversion. So let's say we wanted to divide 1075 by 25. And we don't want to use the multiplication table, nor do we want to use any kind of long division. And the way to do it is like this. Simply write out the powers of 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and so forth. Here again, just the powers, the doubling of 25, 50, double that, 100, 200, 400, 800. I stopped there because if I went further, it's 1600, which is larger than 1075. And if I know that 1075 is 800 plus 200 make 1000, and 50 and 25, I just have to look across at the numbers that correspond there, or in a computer, there would be electrical circuit. And if I know that 32 plus 8 is 40, 42, 43. So 1075 divided by 25 is 32 plus 8 plus 2 plus 1.
What did he say?
It's 43. No multiplication table, no long division, no cat.
You can stop it. It's already ending.
It's so hard to manage all this. No, my brain just works fucked up, you know? So I just look at it and I go, okay, 25 goes into 100 four times, 4 goes into 1,040, you know, and then I go to 3, right? And so you just spit out 3. I mean, I don't have it memorized, but I don't have to draw it out either. But that's cool as hell. Audience, you got anything on that? And Ricardo, tell us about what we just watched. I didn't like math because I'd always done it like you just saw, and that works fine in life, but in geometry, they don't let you do that.
Now, what he's trying to say here is not only to show us how the ancient Egyptians did math without a times table. This is their system, right? As this system is, funny enough, the same system that is used by computers, and is a system that is not taught today, although is known by mathematicians, but it's not taught today, which would make life much simpler to the children that are on learning the first steps of mathematics. I even think this would make it more interesting before going into a timetable afterwards, probably, if they actually need it, which I don't think they do.
As having been a student and now being a parent, I do not disagree with you, man, at all. Get that back out of screen share mode. Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all, man.
It's just an example that making it simpler, it's not making it stupider, because it
Right.
works, right?
Right.
It's just a perfect way of explaining how math although they are using a decimal scheme of numbers, they are using a binary system to multiply and divide. Of course, you cannot divide numbers that have a comma. So if it is 1075,8, then this doesn't work.
Right.
But for a start, and to the children, this is an amazing way of teaching mathematics.
It is, and it keeps it simple, you know. And simple is good. I like simple in everything. You know, the more you can simplify absolutely everything, especially your perspective. But certainly, you know, something like mathematics, the better off you're going to be. You know, it's like these things I look at in the landscape. I mean, I've heard some of the explanations people try to pass for the general area I find this stuff in, and you know, it's it's like, wait a minute, it's so much simpler if, you know, this were something else and heat and energy were applied to it versus this convoluted, you know, theory that gets described to me. The other thing I once was told was it's usually what it looks like, you know.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's true everywhere, dude. Whether it's in finding artifacts or whether it's in, you know, finding people, it's usually what it. I don't mean judge a book by its cover, you know. But once you, like, if you're talking about people, you're talking about actions and fruits, you know, and what somebody's actions and fruits are usually tell you much. But yeah, keep it simple, stupid. That's my favorite. We're closing in on an hour and a half. Look at us. I did do Hatchet Creek, didn't I? There's so much on Hatchet Creek, and I've just got to figure out how to get it in a nice format, because at the point that I was recording, I got to get back out there. And gosh, the ever-growing list of places that have to be gotten back to.
Yeah,
we
but
could go on
Welsh
about
caves
that.
must be a priority.
Yeah, I think
I
Welsh
want to
caves.
see that symbol as it is today. I want you to
Yeah.
find that symbol and photograph it and film
Well,
it.
supposedly you can see the waterfall, or certainly at least the river from this cave. And based on him describing where it is, that should be the case. And shit, I want to see this waterfall from this cave, man. I can't imagine that, you know, some whatever ancient human had used it in whatever capacity, whether it was just natives that used it to sit and eat their lunch, you know. And look at the waterfall. It's
And
very
if
exciting.
it is dry, you can even spend the night there.
Well, and most caves
Make
in
a
the
fire
area.
inside and so on.
Yeah,
Be an
you can-
amazing experience.
You can camp. You
A
can camp
jambi
there.
or some form of.
I don't know if I can put a fire in there, because I guess I'd count that as damaging.
No,
although
no,
it
he's
happens.
not going to put a fire in there. No.
So most of the caves, though, in the area, the guys you can't explore because, you know, bears. When I try up there on Lookout Mountain, what you see me do, in Hatchet Creek, now that I've stopped sharing, but you see me continue to run up these waterways and chase these rocks. When you do that on Lookout Mountain, if your nose isn't working, I hope your ears are, because you're going to run into a bear den very quickly.
You are still sharing.
Oh, okay, cool. What I meant was I still sharing the Hatchet Creek.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I was on Rumble, and that goes to some of our future topics in which we could take audience feedback. You've got a mountain of work, right? You've got your home country, which we got to educate everybody on. I've got a mountain of work, a mountain of video to share. Looking at Rumble reminded me I have a lot of videos there that touch more on the shamanic, the spiritual nature of not only this experience of mine, but of reality. So things like that, might be fun to start exploring as well, considering what we called this here podcast.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm still looking forward to create the video for the DeSoto song.
So, what do you want me to compile video I've already made, or do you want fresh video?
No, I just want video that works.
So
I think you have so much material. We just need video that works.
Look, show me how we could, because we can do this anyway. See, once I'm even in here, can't I share it with you? Once I'm sharing that whole folder, I go over here and share, and then I go back to albums, right? And then I go to Mobilla. I have already got lots of raw video of not only the artifacts. I got to get you out of the way again and there's the pointer. Then once you get down here, I've got, you can see by the hair and beard growth, lots of video from back then of just running through the creek, running around with Luna. So you tell me what you need, man, and I'll get it to you.
Yeah, we need some images of DeSoto. We need some passages of the Chronicles to create the videos, and we need images of you going about the woods, because it's the end of the song. The last minute is with you in it.
Well, your song has me nervous because it's so good, and I don't. I'm like, I'm not gonna live up to that. I'm looking for a cool video. I'm getting distracted by. Can you tell I have not looked at these in a very long time?
Yeah.
Look at that one. It looks like a key. And it's just wild. But sure, dude, your song is such an honor that I will happily provide what you need. You just got to stay on me. Rocks falling everywhere.
Is that rocks falling, or is Jacob doing something?
And more Spanish metal.
Is that the
Beautiful
top
morning.
of a jar?
And as I said, it does not take a genius to realize what we have on our hands here.
So lots of video of me in the early days, man, collecting this stuff.
Looks like the top of a jar. That thing that was on the
Yeah,
that circular
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it was ceramic is, I guess, the technical word to use for it. But yeah, a lot of what you would expect to find.
It's fascinating how much stuff appears in there. It must have been coming from somewhere or several places.
Yeah, well, it was the entire army's belongings, and it how do I try to say it without placing any sort of onus on any one, but somehow it wound up there's a neighborhood, there's construction, it's being cleared, and all of this stuff, at least a large portion of it, has wound up in the creek. And it is flowing down it, as you see here, and evidence here and here with this key piece.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I don't know, Luna. What do you think?
when you identified the place that you believe to be Mabilla, right? The chronicles describe it in any shape or form.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a couple of,
This is
you
why
know,
I'm asking. I'm asking this because I'm curious to see if you went to the LiDAR and actually found something that could be recognizable, or is it too destroyed in order for you to see anything?
it's very well destroyed. So on the LiDAR is questionable. Once you drive the neighborhood, right, it's quite easy to determine. The area as a whole, neighborhoods have had to shut down construction over uncovering native remains, burials. It's rife with it. It is a known quantity. Right now, the bit in the middle that is still for sale, because you ask about natural land features, it appears to be flooded due to a beaver pond that is formed. I even showed it on X the other day. Now, this beaver pond is mentioned in several of the chronicles as a pond where the warrior, I don't even want to call him that, the Spaniards would go off and wash themselves during the battle. It was like a 9-hour battle, all the main brunt of it. And they'd wash the blood and all off of them, so much so that the beaver pond and the creek were described as, flowing red. It mentions that, and of course wide plains, right, and flowing plains, and those exist in plenty. Used to be farming, right, and before even these neighborhoods were built, I used to take the drive that runs right through this area, and you talk about power, and the power and the beauty of the rolling hills before they put the houses now there. You could just tell something was up. So
And, and
when
and there
Go
is
ahead.
no documentation like Squire and Davis did in Ohio, for
I,
instance.
Nearby, I haven't dug into it as severely, but yeah, there's near within not even 10 miles known documented mounds, right?
Yeah,
Alabama
but you're
is
not looking for a mile, for
well.
a
I've
mound.
got the
You are
crescent
looking
one.
for a city.
Well, yeah, and it's been put over by a neighborhood, and
At
it's
least
still
some
being put
kind of a
over.
fort, right? At least some kind of a fort.
It's described, yeah. Well, it's described as a city within walls that were up to 8 feet
And
thick, right?
how big was the city?
So the numbers you can find in the DeSoto Chronicles are gonna they describe it or word it as, I think it's 50 to 80, right, or 50 to 70 long houses. They then describe those as what they meant, a native longhouse, i.e., a large building, perhaps a few compartments in it, but a very large, open structure that could hold some of them 1,000 to 1,500 men, right? So you're talking about a large enclosed space that they describe the size, at least in the translations, by telling you how many men it could hold. So you've got 50 to 80 buildings within walls that are 8 feet or so thick. The walls are described in the chronicles. They describe, Ricardo, trees growing out of the walls, right? Trees strong enough for a Indian to hang himself by. A native warrior to hang himself by. These walls were. Go ahead.
You find no traces of those walls, nothing, not in
So
LiDAR.
the town was burned, right? And the entire, I can show you a map. If I show you a map, you'll see the entire area has been cleared.
I was just trying to see if in maps, if there were maps from the 1800s and 1900s where the area was not developed, if anything was featured there, any curious
It's-
name.
yeah. But yeah, the area is rife. The documentation in Alabama is woefully behind. You can follow the map if you just look from Louisiana to Mississippi, and then Alabama. What is officially, preserved is terrible. It just dies off. We've got two major, three if you count Bottleneck, which you have to use a boat to get to. Three sort of major mound sites documented in a state that is completely covered in them. But Squire and Davis, yeah, they of course documented right around the area of where Attahachie is at the confluence of the Alabama and Tallapoosa. Anyhow, I told you I'd bring you up a map, so I should have those right here in maps and LiDAR.
That's the feathered serpent.
That doesn't get you in close enough to show you, but yeah, it's a neighborhood being actively cleared for the past, I don't know, it's 20 years, and still, clearing and going. I don't have a close enough map. Let me just pull it up. If you need to see it, we'll share it.
So what I'm asking, you haven't looked yet, and if there are any maps from the 18th century,
So
19th century.
this would be a mound in the middle that's well documented. Check out the presentation. Yeah. Yeah, there's some, dude. It's known, but no, there's nothing officially saying anybody came through here, that I can find. But again, I've been more interested in getting out and finding it. I rely on the expertise of Greg Little and Mound Lore, and the maps and info they share. Yeah, and all the info agrees Alabama was woefully documented, though I couldn't give you a number. A massive amount are documented. But yeah, they're everywhere, dude. Anyway, so there's some maps and exploration.
Yeah,
And we're hitting a 2-hour mark here.
yeah.
So here, that's what I call my daughter. One of them. You can see the beginning. I've got here in the middle. All right. So this neighborhood, this entire thing. If I can't really zoom in when I'm viewing this. All right. This neighborhood. Now this neighborhood to this day is, you see where you see green all the way over here? This is all being developed, right? Now this little part right here is what won't sell because of that beaver pond, and because of the and luckily the crescent burial mound is right there. The reason materials such as this are falling out of this mound is the artifact. I'm trying to do too much. The reason artifacts like, well, this and this are coming out of this mound is because the creek, the construction, which is taking place right.
Yeah, he's pushing the creek against the mound.
Yeah. And so it's washing out the native stuff that's in it, along with everything else that was pushing in the creek. The fortunate part about this is that creek empties into a modern day reservoir in basically a little neighborhood. You know how they have to put up walls, make little reservoirs where creeks flow. And funny enough, it's called Graham's Reserve. And as you see, Graham Hancock's name. So I chuckle every time I realize that anything that's missed, fortunately, is being dumped to the bottom of that little lake there. Look at all this clay that washes out, dude, when it rains. That's clay, not fired. Look at all the colors.
Have you ever tried to polish any of this?
Oh, this is clay. It'll fall apart. It's not even fired.
It will? Okay.
But it's the same shape as many tools you find. You see one right there, or what? Not tools. I'm sorry. The word would be. There is no word. Vince even I talked about how they label some things cooking stones, but they look like, I call them game pieces because I know no better word for them. They're obviously decorative. Some of them have holes.
Yeah, look at that.
Some of them are fired. Some of them are not. So it's like a cachet.
That one was not so different from that birdstone that we saw in the round table.
Right.
It even has the hole, so
Right.
it would be called a cooking stone.
That's an idea. So that mimics the mound I just showed everybody. And anyway, now we're getting into material that I don't know who's watching. That probably most folks know. Things found at Mobilla. Okay.
Well,
Where am I? Oh, share main screen. I'm back.
you're back. Well, so when is going to be our next one, Tristan?
Gosh, dude, you tell me. What day is it?
Today's Monday.
Okay. What day's the 5th? That's coming up this week. We've got to do that with Brian Corey Dobbs and everybody. So that's going to be Thursday at 4 p.m. Central. We're busy. Other than that, we've got the roundtable booked for Friday night.
Friday night.
Right. So I say we either stick to we of course will stick to our Sunday night time slot. But if you want to try going live any day this week to test with looking at some of my old videos, some of your books, some of your stuff on energy, some stuff on Portugal, I'm game for it, because whoever is watching at this point, thank you for staying with us. But what you're seeing is us hopefully polish our skills, both in pulling things up and producing and sharing, but also in somehow managing to do all this and remain entertaining as well. So I'm happy to do whatever, dude.
Sure. So let's point to Wednesday,
Okay.
because now we can create the links,
Yeah.
and have them there and share them, so people. don't have
Bravo,
to-
sir.
Oh, it's now.
It's now. They're on now. We have upgraded our podcast game, everybody. We figured out how to alert you well ahead of time when we're going to be live. So you're all welcome, because that makes all our lives easier.
Okay, so we can have one on Wednesday at. Can you do it at your 5 or 6?
Yes, my Wednesday evenings are great for this, man.
Okay, so at 6 Eastern Time Wednesday, and I'm going to create it already, so it stays there.
Great.
And we have the links, and then we have the Roundtable Chronicles on Friday.
Let's check weather between then and now. I'm expecting. Go ahead. We've got the roundtables.
And we don't know. I will contact Max to tell us about the anomalies on the moon, because it's scheduled for so long now that to see if he's game for this Saturday. And the only other guests apart from the people that we want to talk to that are in part of the special, like the Lee Pennington special,
Sure.
is the Mars Revealer from Max, because he's booked for 2
Right.
months, 2 months more or more, and we have to figure out a day. But after that, it's new programming.
Yeah, I exactly. I'm excited to get into the new programming. You know, we've got various things we're working with, trying to build a little community around the Institute, and do all those things we mentioned. Listen, my weather. So you want to meet Wednesday night again live? My weather tomorrow is not bad. I've actually got a little warm spout coming. I've got 64, so I might get out tomorrow and see if I can get some video to
Yeah,
share.
and
So,
bring us some
yeah.
video for us to watch. Yeah, that would be
Get
great.
out and maybe do a little collecting at Mobilla, or maybe get somewhere close by like Hatchet Creek and get some fresh video on that. But something. I'll see if I can generate something in the weather tomorrow that'll be fun for us to look at on Wednesday.
Sure.
Okay.
We do that, and can do the. If we have the time, we can do it the birth of Portugal too, with the temple.
Yeah, why don't we split it? Because I do have a 70% chance of rain. I just have no idea what that means, if it's all day or for an hour. So yeah, let's just plan on a dual topic along with hanging out with whoever shows up. I'll try to generate something new. If I don't manage, then I still have plenty that I haven't really shared. So I still will keep it original for us.
Okay. Well, tell us where they can find us and do our final cut.
If you are an independent researcher, artist, communicator, activist, anything like the two fellows you see before you, the fine people you see in the chat, come find us. Come find us at the Institute of Natural Philosophy. You can find our webpage. We're working on a Discord. We're still in the early stages of that, but we're trying to put all of it together so that we have a place for all of you to come, because most of our guests have been precisely that, independent researchers. That's what we are, and we know one thing for sure: we don't have all the pieces. You know, it's through you guys that we get the truth of our past out there. So we thank you for everyone that's participated so far, be they guests, be they folks in the chat, be they Ricardo, be they anyone who has helped us put this thing together and joined us on this journey thus far. We're deeply appreciative, and we're going to do our best to continue to honor the mission we've set out loud, while also trying to increase, you know, the things we've highlighted: community and live events and content of our own, which is abundant, and our ongoing research about the truth of our past. Thank you, guys.
Well, Thank you very much for watching and a very fun farewell to you all. Thank you.